Almost 2 years since the October 7 attacks, the war in Gaza is no closer to ending. Israel presses on, preparing a full-scale invasion of Gaza City. The initial stated goal was to destroy Hamas and free the hostages, but this shifted over time. Now, destroying Hamas is still a priority, while hostages in the eyes of the Israeli government lost relevance, and another goal took over: conquer the whole of Gaza, possibly get rid of as many Palestinians as possible in the process, either by displacement or simply killing them, and possibly hand over the territory to some undefined Arab entity. The reality? Gaza lies in ruins, famine is spreading, and Israel now faces growing accusation of committing crimes against humanity. So the key question: is Israel winning this war, or has it already lost? The Israeli government insists that its plan is not about occupation but about liberation from Hamas, and that foreign criticism is to be ignored. But what exactly is this plan? A phased advance into Gaza City, demilitarizing neighborhoods, destroying tunnels, and pushing Hamas out. After that, some vague Arab-led administration would supposedly take over. The problem? No Arab state has agreed to participate, and the Palestinian Authority refuses to enter under Israeli guns. In short, Israel has no credible political partner. The army can seize territory, terrorize and massacre civilians in the process, but it cannot impose governance. Despite the devastation, Hamas is not gone. Its tunnel system remains partly intact, its leadership decentralized, and its popularity among Palestinians has actually grown. This was actually Hamas' trap: provoke Israel into a massive war it cannot decisively win. The more destruction Israel inflicts, the more Hamas becomes a symbol of resistance. Military superiority has not translated into strategic victory. Moreover, this past week, the UN reported that more than 1 in 5 children in Gaza City is acutely malnourished. 11 people died in just one day from starvation-related causes. Families are forced to choose between drinking water and hygiene. These are not just tragic statistics. They point to a systematic collapse of civilian life, one that cannot be defined differently than as an Israeli crime against humanity. The country's legitimacy as a democratic state is now questioned in global forums where it once held firm allies. Even Germany, long a staunch backer, has frozen arms exports. The US seems to be the only country still backing Tel Aviv unconditionally. Inside Israel, support for the war remains high, over 80% of Jewish Israelis, but it also has grown increasingly radical. Polls show that majorities back forced expulsion, and almost half invoking Amalek-inspired language of extermination. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks are spreading. Hostage families lead weekly protests demanding negotiations. Hundreds of thousands have taken to the streets, and nearly a quarter of Israelis, many from the tech sector, say that they are considering leaving the country altogether. Israel's human capital, its greatest strength, is at risk of draining away. Talk of expelling Gazans to Egypt is politically dead. Egypt refuses, Palestinians refuse, and the world rejects it as an ethnic cleansing. Equally fantastical is the so-called Mediterranean Riviera vision. Gaza is a luxury coast rebuilt for outsiders. Without Palestinians, without resistance, it's a dream with no foundation. The only realistic scenario for reconstruction is one led by Palestinians themselves, backed by international donors, and embedded into a negotiated settlement. Anything else is an illusion. Israel's military might is undisputed, but strategy is about outcomes, not firepower. And here Israel is faltering. Hamas remains capable of governing and fighting. The war goal, eradicate Hamas, rescue hostages, and secure Gaza, are unmet. International support is eroding, and Arab normalization is frozen. It may seem counterintuitive, seeing the military results, but strategically it's exactly what Hamas wanted. Israel is bleeding legitimacy abroad and cohesion at home. It has fallen fully into Hamas' trap. Overwhelming force turned into a global propaganda loss. What next? Several paths exist. First, possibility. An endless war with repeated incursions, Hamas regrouping, humanitarian crisis. Second, a regional escalation, Hezbollah or Iran joining, stretching Israel's army thin. Third, a fragmented authority, Palestinians confined to disconnected enclaves under partial Israeli control. Fourth, the old scenario of the two-state settlement, frankly very unlikely as it would require a major political shift in Israel. Fifth, an international trusteeship, Gaza governed temporarily by outsiders until Palestinians can reclaim leadership. In this chaos, only one thing is certain: none of these scenarios are quick or easy. The Gaza war is no longer about Gaza. It is about Israel's future, militarily strong yet strategically stuck. A state risking internal division, international isolation, and a slow drain of its human potential. Israel risks to slide from a modern liberal democracy into a dark, semi-authoritarian military state similar to some African or Central Asian realities. The lesson is stark. Wars without political solutions are unwinnable. By pursuing total victory over a non-state movement, Israel may end up eroding the very foundations of its own security and even its statehood. And with mounting evidence of crimes against humanity, Israel is not only fighting Hamas, it is fighting for its international legitimacy. In a shifting multipolar world, this could push Israel into the role of an isolated fortress, powerful but alone. So, has Israel already lost the war? Perhaps not on the battlefield, but strategically, the danger is that defeat is already written. Shalom.